Hello and welcome back to Walk the Cinema podcast. Today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite movies, Moonstruck.
Yeah, this is one of your favorite movies. I think it's fine. It's okay. A lot of people do love it.
I think it just has a certain charm that I kind of gravitate towards.
It does have a charm, I'll give you that.
I like movies about love.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, this is one of those love in New York City is hard movies, yeah. It's a rom-com.
Mm-hmm.
So
starring a very young Nicolas Cage.
This was like kind of a star-making role for him.
Yeah. And I think it's probably like one of the reasons why he got other roles, because this did get a lot of Oscar traction with a win for Cher, who is our leading lady. So I think, having this under his belt so early in his career is probably what kind of projected him into more of a spotlight.
Right. And they made a great couple.
I actually liked them together.
No, I do. We have the Criterion release of it. Mm-hmm. And it has the booklet. And the back of the booklet, there's like kind of a portrait of them together. That's like so funny.
Yeah, it's super cute though. But for those of you that don't really know anything about Moonstruck, it's about this woman who's an Italian-American, very Italian family, who falls in love with her fiance's brother. And so the fiance's brother is Nick Cage. And so she falls in love with a younger Nick Cage.
Younger, handicapped Nick Cage.
Yes. And, she feels like she has bad luck because her first husband got hit by a bus. And, it's bad luck because she didn't do things properly the first time around.
Yeah.
She didn't get married in a white dress or...
And I think that's what is the juxtaposition for the second engagement. Mm-hmm. Where if she didn't do stuff right the first time, she definitely didn't do it the second time.
Right.
Because she fell in love with the brother of the guy she's supposed to marry. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, it is like kind of based on Italian superstition, and then like the family dynamic gets kind of torn around. Because she finds her father's cheating. Mm-hmm. And then she's cheating with her future brother-in-law, so it's a whole tangled mess. It
is a tangled mess, but it does talk, like, there's a lot of love stories within this love story. You have, Loretta and her fiance, Johnny, and it's very, like, by the book kind of relationship, where they dated for a certain amount of time. He feels like he has to propose to her, blah, blah, blah. She says yes,
Well, he also feels that he has to marry her because he's going to lose his mom.
Yeah. Because
his mom's supposedly dying in Sicily. So he loses one woman, gains another. It's kind of like the workaround, because at the end it does say that, like, he gets asked, why do men pursue women? Mm-hmm. And he says, because they're scared of dying without someone.
Yeah. So
his mom's going to die. He thinks she is, so he wants another woman to replace her, kind of.
Yeah, I can see that. And, you have their relationship, you have Loretta and Ronnie, Nicolas Cage.
Great dialogue here for him.
Yes.
I feel like this has a lot of... At the time, probably, we didn't know that, right? If we watched this in the 80s, we don't know that his dialogue, like yelling at his own hand, is going to be kind of a goofy thing in the future, because he's kind of known for overacting in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But it kind of works, I guess, because it's not his thing yet. Mm-hmm. So, but you can tell it's him expressing himself in that way.
Yeah,
that his overacting is kind of just how he is.
Yeah. But their relationship is more kind of carefree and not really by the book either, So it's still kind of like, I don't know, we don't really know anything about her first husband, but it kind of feels like it would be the same type of emotions that she felt with him. And then we have, like, the kind of one-off relationships with Loretta's aunt and uncle, where her uncle is reminiscing about the past, and he sees the moon, and he's hypnotized by the big giant moon, and makes him, you know,
ferociously
in love with his wife, and even the wife's kind of like, what's going on?
It's the moon. It hits your eyes.
Yeah.
That's the song that they keep playing. Is it Sinatra that?
I don't know.
You don't know who does the song? We should know who does the song.
Yeah, but you know, it's not Frank Sinatra. It's Dean Martin.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
it's Dean Martin. That's Amore. I don't know where it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, it goes through like these kind of trying times where you have Loretta, who's been through marriage once and she's a widower. You have Ronnie, who's been through a heartbreak because his fiance left him after he was maimed by the bread cutter.
Yeah, and you see there's kind of regret for both of them, and that's why they're kind of impulsive with this newfound love. Because she regrets not doing things with the husband that died. Like she wanted kids, but she wanted to wait. But then they waited too long and he died. Yeah. So now she's not waiting. Like she immediately accepts the engagement, and she immediately goes to bed with him. Like it didn't take him much.
Yeah. And you see her father's relationship with her mother, and they're kind of been together for over 50 years, and it's kind of getting, I wouldn't say stale, but they're not as in love as they used to be.
Right. I would assume that's normal.
Yeah. But
it's just
her father kind of steps out of the marriage and starts seeing some woman, and, you know, the mother suspects something's going on, but she doesn't have any proof. Like she hasn't physically seen anything go on, but they still love each other. Right. It's just
they just need to look at the moon,
I guess. But he still the father character just, I don't know what like causes him to seek out alternative companionship. We'll go with that. Right.
Because he's not chasing women because he's scared of death. Like the other character said. Yeah. So there's gotta be another reason that he does it. Yeah. Boredom.
Maybe boredom. It may be boredom, or it may be like his feelings of inadequacy. I don't know. But the movie goes on, and you start to see Loretta kind of struggle, where she really likes Ronnie. Right. She tolerates Johnny. But since she's already made a promise to Johnny, she kind of feels obligated to like stick with him, you know? And she feels like Ronnie waited too long to like find her. Right. Yeah. It's just a love story all around, you know?
Yeah, it's a very weird love story. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't want to find love that way, but I guess if you do, you gotta go at your gut. Yeah. But yeah, it's never great to date the brother of your fiance, but
it happened.
And when it's Nicolas Cage, you give it a break, and you just...
Yeah, and you know, there's moments of like, I really like the part where Ronnie is like, I just want to have one night of my two favorite things, you and opera. Oh, yeah. And, you know, then I'll leave you alone forever. And, you know, like, as a viewer, you're kind of like, oh, that's not true. Because as soon as you have it, you're going to want it forever.
Yeah, and it's kind of a important transformation moment for the Cher character, because, you know, she's never been to the opera. She doesn't know how to approach that situation. But then we see her transformation, like her being comfortable with herself, right? She gets rid of her white hair, gets a new haircut, then walks past a boutique and gets new shoes and a new dress. And
yeah, it's all for her in those moments, you know?
And then she goes to the opera and she loves it, and it's just a new woman in a way.
Yeah, I think she feels kind of rejuvenated after this, you know? Like, she feels better about herself, better about... I wouldn't necessarily say better about the future, because she still has this, like, thing looming over her. But, you know, it is something different for her.
Well, it's different for her as the character, but I feel like that's the moment where, like, oh, that's Cher.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we expect from her.
Yeah, glammed and
glammed up and, living her best life.
But after the opera happened, she sees her dad and his mistress at the opera as well, and they both kind of have, like, a "what are you doing here" moment, like, both of them.
There's, like, no one saw anything. Yeah,
and I feel like, I don't know, that would be a really tough situation to be in.
That's love in New York.
I guess
you just get put in terrible situations that you gotta figure out all the time.
Yeah, and then, meanwhile, while that's happening, her mother, Rose, is out having dinner by herself, and she sees a guy that gets dumped, and we saw him earlier in the film being dumped by a different woman. And she's like, that girl was too young for you. And he kind of talks about how he feels so much monotony in his world right now. And he's a professor, and so when he looks out into the crowd and he sees a young woman just awestruck by stuff that he says, because, it's the first time that she's ever heard anything like it before, it makes him feel like he's important, for a few weeks until he feels like they realize he's not really anything special. Yeah. And
none of us are.
Yeah, and I feel like that's probably something a lot of older men go through, potentially, especially, if they have been married before, or maybe not even at all, but, once you get to a certain point in your life, I do think it becomes more monotonous, and it's really hard to feel special, but it's like he goes about it the wrong way, or at least that's what Rose is kind of, I think, saying, like, but they have dinner together and he walks her home, and, she's just having a good time because it kind of feels like they're both feeling something special.
I feel like everyone that's in this movie looking for love is looking to feel important and cared for, and there's someone that will like him, and that's, like, why this guy is super down, and why Nicolas Cage feels like his life has been terrible since he lost his hand and his fiancée, because now no one wants him and doesn't think he's important enough to overlook his accident.
Which I'm like, dang, that girl is cold.
Yeah. Like, immediately left you for another man because you lost a couple fingers.
Yeah. Obviously she didn't love him.
Right.
But I also kind of wonder, this was, I've seen this a couple times at this point, and there was at the beginning, kind of, when Johnny goes to Sicily to visit his mother, Loretta is looking on to the plane, and this old woman was like, I put a curse on this plane because my sister has come to visit me, and she stole a man from me years ago, and she now tells me that she never loved him. She just stole him to get back at me. And I'm kind of like, that kind of seems parallel to the story that Loretta goes through. She's between two brothers, and I feel like part of Ronnie's reasoning for pursuing Loretta might be because he's trying to get back at his brother. Right. Or at least maybe it starts like that.
Yeah, it kind of does feel like it does start like that. That, like, he wants to sleep with her. Yeah. To get one over his brother, but then he really likes her. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot going on, and that's why I think I don't love it. Like, you love it, and a lot of people do love it. I think it's a little too much. There's too many things, I think.
Yeah, potentially.
Like, it's not simple enough to be just, I don't know. Yeah. It's unfocused kind of sometimes, and
I feel like it's a little too short sometimes.
It's really short. It's an hour and a half.
Yeah, and I feel like it could have been fleshed out a little bit more.
Actually, it's probably like an hour 45, but still.
Yeah, I think it's an hour 45.
It's still short. It's like, it goes by really quick.
Yeah, and I think they could use some more time to kind of flesh out some of the plot lines, because I really enjoy Loretta's grandfather, but we don't really see a lot of him. He's, like, kind of silent. He has his dogs. And he finally tells his son that he needs to pay for his daughter's wedding. And that he's kind of inadequate as a man if he doesn't, or as, like, a father. And
yeah, there's also that aspect. Yeah. There's a lot of themes of being a man. Besides, the pretty obvious themes of love. There's handling marriage and being a man and just doing what you gotta do because that's what it's expected of you.
Yeah.
Like having a ring to propose and getting on your knees and like,
Loretta's father even was like, when she said she was getting engaged, or she got engaged to Johnny, he was like, well, why didn't he come ask me for, you know?
And we see with him that she wants the ring, and then she wants him to get on his knees and do this public thing. And then when his brother asks him, he just has a hand in his pocket, asks to borrow a ring, and is like, here you go, marry me. So like she just gives up all those things that she thought she needed to be lucky.
Yeah.
To make the wedding last, because she didn't have that with the first one, so she thought that the things she didn't do were what caused it, but maybe this is just she didn't love the right guy.
Maybe. I think that this also is like a good pairing because they both feel like they're super unlucky, you know? Like they both kind of have been down on their lucks. And that's true. You know.
But Cher is dating a guy for a long while, and I don't understand why you date him for so long when you don't even like him a little bit. Or you like him, but you don't love him. I think that's what her mom says. Yeah. Like, you like him, you don't love him. He's not the right one.
Yeah.
Like, but you're with him for what, 5 years?
No, I don't know. I don't remember how long.
I don't remember. I feel like they were supposed to be together for long enough that he was expected to propose.
Yeah.
To make her his wife, because it's, you know, after a while of calling someone your girlfriend, you are expected to step up. Because, you know, you're a man. But this reminded me of my favorite Italian-American rom-com, which is Return to Me with Minnie Driver.
Yeah.
Which I think is much better, honestly. It's probably not. It's probably crappier, but the story is just better. It's better for me. Better. Yeah. It's more focused, and this is like just a lot.
I will say that I'm a little bit confused as to why this got so much Oscar.
Because people love it.
Buzz. I don't know. Yeah, I know, but like...
Now it doesn't feel like special or unique.
Yeah, a little bit, but it got 6 Oscar nominations, and it won 2, or 3. It won 3, actually.
That's crazy.
It won both Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress for the woman who played Rose, Loretta's mother. And then I think it was Best Original Screenplay.
Crazy. Because the screenplay now is just... It's not terrible. It's definitely... I think the biggest thing this has going for it is the charm. And also the cast aged pretty well.
Yeah.
But besides that, I don't think the story is incredibly unique. Or like the movie's like necessary viewing. Of course you do, because it's one of your favorites.
Yeah, I think it's sweet. And it I mean, it's kind of like one of those things that I typically wouldn't like, because it does involve like cheating on your fiance and cheating on your wife, and it's like...
Well, but besides the morals.
Yeah.
Besides the moral breakage of it all.
I mean, I remember I had wanted to watch this movie for a while before I eventually saw it, because I only saw it within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I remember watching one of those Watch Mojo videos on, I think it was best couples.
Can't believe you're gonna admit that.
Yeah, it was like, you know, something. I was, you know, in the mood to watch something
silly.
Yeah, like romantic, silly kind of type thing, and that one of the pairings or moments was when Ronnie proposed to Loretta, and I was like, oh, I think I'd like that movie, but I just never got around to it. I was a little turned off from it for a while, just because when I did see that video, it was like kind of when Nick Cage wasn't taken very seriously. I mean,
he's on the up and up.
Yeah, he goes through phases, you know.
He's been giving a lot of honest interviews right now, where he says he's hurt that people think he doesn't care about his smaller roles, or that he only does it for money, but he says he does care about every single role he does. Yeah, and that he really enjoys no matter what role people talk to him about, because he enjoys that people like the movie. And he seems like a fun guy, honestly. Yeah. I love him to be my friend. If you're listening, Nicolas Cage, or anyone at the Coppola family that can contact him, I would love to be your friend. I can almost guarantee you that nobody in the Coppola family are watching us. Sofia Coppola gets bored. Maybe. But, you know, this movie I really enjoy it. I I enjoy it too. I just don't think it's spectacular.
I always think about it though, because I mean, we watched this. We had a day where I picked all the movies for the week, for like the weekend.
Mm-hmm. You made like a little schedule.
Yeah, I made like a little schedule. I was like, we're gonna watch this movie first and this movie, and this was like I think this was our first movie that we watched that day.
I think so, yeah.
And it was such a nice opening, and I was like, wow, I really loved that. I can definitely see why Cher won an Oscar for this, because I just love her, and I think she just brings so much life to the character.
I think that's why the movie's still around. I think if it didn't have Cher and Nicolas Cage, because they're like a great on-screen couple, if it didn't have the both of them, this would have died out. And I don't care how many Oscars it won. Because there's a lot of movies that won 3 Oscars that we're never going to watch.
Right.
But this is kind of standard at this point. Like, at the time, I can't speak for it, but at this point, it's kind of standard, but it does have a good cast and a great charm.
Yeah, and it has, like, it's always on the good for her lists and the romantic comedy kind of movies.
I don't think it's must-watch, but for a rom-com, it's decent. Especially for an older rom-com. Because now you get a lot of independent rom-coms that I like a lot. That are not goofy. Because this isn't goofy.
No.
But, I mean, yeah. I was just watching a Woody Allen movie instead, to be honest. If you want to watch A Love in New York, personally. But I give it a 7.
I gave it a 9. I always think when I haven't watched it in a while, I always think back on it. I'm like, why don't I give it a 10? Mm-hmm. But, you know, when I do watch it, I'm kind of, there is something about it that's not 10 worthy.
I understand it completely, because that's me with Uncut Gems. I'll watch it, give it a 9, and then immediately like, why didn't I give it a 10? I should rewatch it now. So I watched it twice in a week and then just stick with the 9. Because there's something, you can't put your finger on it.
Yeah, there's just something about it that's like, I just can't give it a 10. I don't really know why, because it is so good. And I always think this is going to be the time I'm going to raise it to a 10, but I just don't.
Maybe next time.
Maybe.
We'll definitely watch it again.
Oh, definitely. It's not one of those movies that you watch once and like, I feel like this movie, if you do watch it, you're either going to really like it and like love it kind of, or you're just going to be like, it's whatever.
No,
take it or leave her.
I don't agree.
I feel like that.
I'm a little above I do like it. I do think it's good in a way, but it is too much sometimes. And it's just, I don't know, it's not special enough to me, but that's probably because I have other favorite rom-coms that I rather go to, but I watched this one because this one was one of your favorites.
Yeah, and we own it on Criterion, so.
Yeah. It's on Criterion for some reason.
For some reason.
It's not even particularly a nice print, if I'm honest. The audio track is kind of whack.
That's true, but that's not on the movie.
No, it's not on the movie, but it is on Criterion. If you're going to charge $40 Criterion, make it better.
Well, I think that's all we have to say about this movie. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment, or rate us however you can on the platform that you're listening to us.
Support us.
And we will see you next time.